Today I will discuss a new topic, that one is the microscopic and macroscopic approach. So in the thermodynamics, the main concern about the movement of the particles. So when we study about the microscopic approach, the name indicates itself. Micro means small, micro small, and the meaning of macro, that meaning is large. So when we study about the small particles, then it is said to be microscopic approach, and when we discuss about the large particle, then it will called as a macroscopic approach. Particularly in a substance, there are number of molecules in this system. So there are several number of small molecules, some have large molecules. So the consideration phenomena occurs about only a small particles, then this is known as the microscopic approach. Let us assume that a system whose concerned with a very small molecules in such a way that each molecules interact with another molecules and a intramolecular force in between them, so that when we apply a force or giving a heat, then one particles are adjacent to the another particle, and the relation between two particles, that's one particles whose force may be applied that push the another particles. According to this way, suppose that the number of particles in such a way that each particles are adjacent to the another particles. While giving a heat del Q, then this heat is to be transferred from first particle to another particle, then this particle transferred to heat from this and so on. So while we discuss about the significance of microscopic approach and macroscopic approach, let us discuss about that. What are the meaningful of the micro and macroscopic approach? So generally, while we discuss in this way, first one is the microscopic approach. Microscopic approach. Another one is the macroscopic approach. In microscopic approach, we discuss about the small particles. So we can write it contains small particles, and in the macroscopic approach it contains large particles. The second main difference between microscopic approach and macroscopic approach is that the study of the average density of the molecules will be considered, and in the macroscopic approach, study of single large particle. Another difference we can write the mathematical expression, the mathematical we can write here the mathematical approach for consideration of average of all particles, and here it analyzes by the single large molecule. Here statistical approach, we can say here average density of the molecules. It means that statistical approach, and here this one is to be calculated by single analysis of the single particle. So in the difference of the microscopic approach and macroscopic approach, we can draw a small particle as well as in a large particle. So here we can draw a small particles and a large particles. This is a microscopic approach. This one is for macroscopic approach. There are small molecules in this system, but in macroscopic approach, the large molecules of the system will be contained. So we study not a single particles in here. We discuss only a single particles in macroscopic approach, but the average density of each molecule is to be accumulated and discuss about the whole average density. But in macroscopic approach, we discuss about the macroscopic, a large particles molecules will be considered. These are the molecules. So in simple definition, in between microscopic and macroscopic approach, we must know about that. It names indicate itself. Micro means small and macro means large. So only by this two figure you can explain how it is to be defined. So here this is the micro and macroscopic approach. Okay. So now a new topic, that is concept of continuum. In the term continuum, the word contains that continuous. So here in the concept of continuum, suppose that this is a large particle, and suppose that a particle whose mass is L and whose volume is del V. Generally, while we discuss about the density, so density rho is equal to del M upon del V. It means that change of mass to the change of volume. So density is mass per unit volume. So here we compare the density of this molecules. Suppose that this is the large molecules and this one is the small molecules. So the density of the large particle is rho and the density of the small molecules is rho dash. So if its mass is capital Del M and its volume is capital Del V, so rho is equal to del M upon del V, and this is the rho dash del M upon del V. So the compare from the large particle to a small particle P, that is the significance of concept of continuum. The study of the average density of the small particles is meaningful as such a way that while we discuss about the microscopic approach, there are a number of small molecules in the system. So the average density of the small molecules, that is equal to the total value of density meaningful. So whenever we discuss about concept of continuum. So the statistical averaging of the molecules of the properties is meaningful. As such, the compare of small molecules in compared to the large molecules. So in such a way, a formula density rho is equal to limit del V tends to del V dash del M upon del V. Density of the molecules as such a way, suppose that del V is the volume of the large particle and del V dash is the volume of small particles. So the net density that is equal to the comparison del V tends to del V dash del M upon del V. So according to the concept of continuum, that in the macroscopic approach, the thermodynamics, its continuum value of the system is very large as compared to molecules. So consider a mass del M and its volume is del V, and comparing to a large particle whose mass is del M and its density is rho. So the average density of the system is to be defined by this formula. So by this process, we draw a diagram according to the density and to the volume, because we compare the density of the small molecule to the density of large molecule. So in this way, whenever asked that what is concept of continuum, so we can write that the comparison of the density of the small molecule to the density of the large molecule, that is known as the concept of continuum. So in diagram we can compare the domain of the continuum effect, and this effect continuum that is to be represented by in this way. The diagram shows in a way this way. This is the straight line. This is the range of del V. This is the range of del V dash. This is the density. You can write here del M upon del V. This one is the range, domain of molecular effect, domain of molecular effect, and this one is the domain of continuum. Domain of continuum. This is the density, rho, density. The graph represents that the meaning of the domain of molecular effect to the domain of the continuum. When the graph goes from its density here, del M upon del V, this one is the density value. When it goes, then it meets at constant line, and suddenly when the density down, then it meets into this point. So this is the figure of concept of continuum. Okay. So further we discuss about the new topic, that is the first law of thermodynamics. Now we will discuss about first law of thermodynamics. first law of thermodynamics. It is explained by the two laws. One is the law of conservation of energy, and another one is the internal energy. So, the first law of thermodynamics, according to the law of conservation of energy, that energy is not be created, not be destroyed, but one form of the energy that is converted into the another form. So it is the basic principle of conservation of the energy. But the second part, that is it is based upon the internal energy. Suppose that a subjected body whose internal energy is del U, del U heat is given to this subjected body and work done by the system is del W. So in this way, that when we given a net amount of heat to a subjected system, then there must be internal energy of each and every system. So the existence of any body, it is only the base upon that it must contains internal energy. Suppose that this one is a duster, there are some internal energy must be there so that its existence is there. So every molecules or subjected body or whatever the body in the universe, there are some part of internal energy, so that while we causing the force, either heat that is producing on a subjected body or system, that causing that a movement must be occurred while applying the force or giving the heat. So the first law of thermodynamics, it is based upon the net heat is directly proportional to the work done. So the net heat given to a system, that is directly proportional to the net work done obtained by the system. But there are no method that whatever the heat is to be given to a system, that convert equivalent amount of the work. Some heat must be raised that the internal substance energy is to be given by this particular heat. Suppose that in a container, while we heating the water, our main aim is to heat only this half, either 1 liter of water, but our aim is to heat the 1 liter of water, but the water will sustain only a closed vessel, either container, either pot. पानी को जब भी हम गर्म करेंगे तो सबसे पहले उसको किसी एक बर्तन में, किसी एक वेसल में, किसी एक कंटेनर में रखेंगे, तभी उस वाटर को हीट करेंगे। अब वाटर को और हीट को अगर हम देखें तो वाटर को हीट देने से पहले हम उस बर्तन को हीट देंगे, जिससे कि पहले बर्तन हीट होगा और फिर उसके मॉलिक्यूल जो है वो वाटर की लेयर को हीट देंगे, सो द एडजेसेंट लेयर विल बी हीटेड बाय गिविंग द हीट टू द पर्टिकुलर कंटेनर. So that internal energy plays a very important role to any system in such a way that net heat to a the net heat given to a system is proportional to the net work done. It means that del Q is not equal to del W, that is equal to del U plus डेल W, बिकॉज अगर हम हीट दे रहे हैं किसी भी सब्सटेंस को तो उस सब्जेक्टेड बॉडी को, सब्जेक्टेड कंटेनर को, सब्जेक्टेड सिस्टम को हमें उसके इंटरनल एनर्जी को इरेज करना पड़ेगा, तभी हमें वर्क ऑब्टेन होगा. सो another way, the explanation of the first law of the thermodynamics is based upon the internal energy, that the net heat given to a system that is equal to the equivalent of the internal energy of the system to the addition of the work done on the system or work done by the system. So this is the first law of the thermodynamics. So whenever someone asks about the what do you mean by first law of the thermodynamics, so it is based upon the two laws, law of conservation of energy. Second one is based upon the internal energy. Internal energy, its symbol is del U. Always point to be remember that internal energy को हम लोग U symbol से represent करते हैं. अब यहाँ पे जो del W है, that work done W, this work done, suppose that this is a system that del W work done by the system, and इसको हम कहेंगे work done by the system, and this one is the work done on the system. So the two sign convention will be there, either work done by the system and work done on the system. तो जब work done by the system होगा तो पॉजिटिव साइन कन्वेंशन लेंगे, एंड वर्क डन ऑन द सिस्टम होगा सो नेगेटिव साइन कन्वेंशन लेंगे. तो सिंपल फर्स्ट लॉ ऑफ थर्मोडायनेमिक्स पे बेस्ड द क्वेश्चन अराइजेस अबाउट द क्लोज लूप ऑफ द साइकिल. वर्क डन इज टू बी कैलकुलेटेड, आइदर whatever amount of heat is to be required, that is to be calculated in first law of thermodynamics. Energy equation, it is also called as ST, S dot F dot E dot E, steady flow energy equation. In the steady flow energy equation, suppose that in a pipe that its position to the horizontal base axis is Z1, इसको हम कहते हैं datum head. This position of the pipe, that is Z2 datum head from the horizontal axis, the inlet condition of the liquid or steam, that is P1, V1, H1, and its velocity is small v1 and volume is capital V2. The exit condition is P2, V2, H2. Its datum head height is Z2. Suppose that the liquid is passing through a pipe from a high level to the low level, so that the net change of energy from the inlet section, that is equal to the net value is total energy at the exit. So according to the law of conservation of the energy, that the net change of amount of energy from one end is equal to the net amount of energy to the another end. So in the steady flow energy equation, the following assumptions should be there. First one is mass flow rate remains constant. It means that suppose that mass flow rate m0, so इनलेट पे और एग्जिट पे जो मास फ्लो रेट है वो दोनों सेम होना चाहिए. दैट मास फ्लो रेट एट इनलेट एंड एग्जिट आर सेम. देयर आर नो केमिकल रिएक्शन. अगर पाइप पे और वाटर के बीच में आपस में रिएक्शन होगा, केमिकल रिएक्शन होगा, so the corrosion phenomena occurs, so that the flow of the liquid that is to be changed. So there are no chemical reaction. Third one is the fluid remain constant at any point of state. It means that when the fluid is passing through the pipe, so it remains constant. So these are the basic assumptions that must be required in the steady flow energy equation. Now, in the derivation of the steady flow energy equation, that is very important, that is to be calculated by the total energy flow at inlet. यहाँ पे जितनी एनर्जी फ्लो हो रही है, एग्जिट पे भी टोटल एनर्जी फ्लो होना चाहिए. टोटल एनर्जी फ्लो रेट एट एग्जिट. सो यहाँ पे जो एनर्जी फ्लो है वही एनर्जी फ्लो आपका एग्जिट पे भी रहना चाहिए. हम अगर इनलेट पे और एग्जिट पे मास फ्लो रेट को m नॉट से कंसीडर करें, सो दिस वैल्यू इज इक्वल टू द टोटल एनर्जी, पोटेंशियल एनर्जी प्लस काइनेटिक एनर्जी प्लस प्रेशर एनर्जी प्लस काइनेटिक एनर्जी प्लस पोटेंशियल एनर्जी प्लस नेट हीट is equal to the one at inlet potential energy plus kinetic energy plus potential energy at section 2 plus work done. If mass flow rate is m naught, so here we can write is here m naught. So point to be remember that we will discuss that mass flow rate at entrance and mass flow rate at exit, that will be equal total energy at entrance and total energy at exit. कौन-कौन सी एनर्जी यहाँ पे रहती है? प्रेशर एनर्जी है, पोटेंशियल एनर्जी है एंड काइनेटिक एनर्जी यहाँ पे एग्जिस्ट है. सो m naught h1 plus gz1 plus v1 square by 2 plus q is equal to m naught exit पे h2 plus gz2 plus v2 square by 2 plus w. अब देखो दो इनलेट पे और एग्जिट पे सेम प्रेशर एनर्जी P1. अगर हम इंथैल्पी की बात करें, इंथैल्पी क्या है, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय इंथैल्पी? तो इंथैल्पी इज द पार्ट ऑफ एनर्जी. वी कैन राइट हियर इंथैल्पी इज इक्वल टू द एनर्जी. तो इंथैल्पी को हम H से लिखते हैं, तो टोटल इंथैल्पी that is equal to the energy, either pressure energy. So into the term of thermodynamics, either fluid, we consider about the enthalpy at entrance h1 and enthalpy at exit. So m naught h1 plus gz1 plus v1 square by 2 plus q, that is equal to h2 plus gz2 plus v2 square by 2 plus w. Now this equation is to be write in such a way that we know that total enthalpy H, that is equal to U plus PV. So from this equation number 1, from equation 1, m naught h1 की जगह u1 plus p1 v1 plus gz1 plus v1 square by 2 plus q is equal to m naught u2 plus v2 v2 plus gz2 plus v2 square by 2 plus w. This is the fundamental equation of steady flow energy equation. So you must have to remember that this is used as a formula while we solve the numerical, that the net energy at inlet that is equal to the energy at exit. So this formula is m naught h1 plus p1 v1 plus gz1 plus 2 is equal to m naught h2 plus gz2 plus v2 square by 2 plus w. Suppose that if the mass flow rate is m naught, if the mass flow rate is unit 1, if the mass flow rate is unit, then m naught cancel out, so this can be written as h1 plus gz1 plus v1 square by 2 plus q, that is equal to h2 plus gz2 plus v2 square by 2 plus w. This equation is known as स्पीड, इसी को बोलते हैं एस से स्टेडी, एफ से फ्लो, ई से एनर्जी और ई से इक्वेशन. So this is a very important derivation. The question must be arise in the university examination generally, that write the expression for the steady flow energy equation. So you have to learn about how it is to be derived. Only you remember the two section, at inlet section and at exit section. In the inlet section, the total velocity v1, pressure p1, enthalpy h1, exit plane p2, v2, h2, net potential energy, kinetic energy, pressure energy, either we can say that enthalpy energy, the total energy at entrance, that is equal to the total energy at exit. So value is summation of total energy at entrance, that is equal to the total energy at exit. We put all these values and simulate the result, that it is in the form of h1 plus gz1 plus v1 square by 2 plus 2 is equal to this. Agar m naught to 1 lenge, so this is the steady flow energy equation. Okay. Now the application of steady flow energy equation, application of steady flow energy equation. In the application, basically we use the turbine, boiler, condenser, centrifugal pump, nozzle. These are the devices such as boiler, turbine, condenser, nozzle, pump, where we apply the steady flow energy equation. So first one, for turbine, while we applying the steady flow energy equation, so this is the turbine. Main function of the turbine is to convert the energy, that when the fluid or steam passing through the surface of the turbine blade, then it is going to start, and that causing the mechanical energy. While the turbine blade is going to move on, so we obtain the mechanical energy. This mechanical energy is to be converted into the electrical energy by the help of the generator. So this is the control volume either boundary. This is the turbine figure. So according to steady flow energy equation, we know that this is h1 plus v1 square by 2 plus gz1 plus q, that is equal to h2 plus v2 square by 2 plus gz2 plus w. In each and every case that this steady flow energy equation remains same, either whatever the thermodynamic device, either boiler, either condenser, either nozzle, either turbine. So this is the steady flow energy equation. In the turbine, suppose that datum head are equal such as Z1 is equal to Z2, then if it is thermally insulated so that net Q is equal to 0. If turbine is thermally insulated, so Q is equal to 0. Velocity V1 is equal to V2. So while putting these values, we get H1. This is equal to this value H2 plus W. That W is equal to H1 minus H2. So the work done by the turbine, that value is equal to H1 minus H2. This is the enthalpy difference, so that whenever it is calculate the work done by the turbine, that value is equal to the difference of H1 minus H2. This is for steady flow energy equation in the case of turbine. Next device is boiler. This is the boiler. Water in, steam out. This is control volume. For case of the boiler, second one is the for boiler. In each cases, the steady flow energy equation remain same. Again, we write here according to steady flow energy equation. We write here same formula H1 plus V1 square by 2 plus GZ1 plus Q is equal to H2 plus V2 square by 2 plus GZ2 plus W. Same formula as before in the case of turbine. So this is for boiler. अब बॉयलर के केस में जो जनरली चेंजेस होते हैं, क्योंकि टरबाइन है, दिस वन इज थर्मली इंसुलेटेड, टरबाइन में डेटम हेड इज इक्वल, वेलोसिटी इज remains same, no work done because the main function of the boiler is to generate the steam. So the concentration phenomena takes place from the boiler, that is the datum head will be equal, velocity is remains same at entrance at exit, so and no work done. So for boiler, no work done, so W is equal to 0. According to the above equation, we put all these terms, that is equal to the H1 plus 0 plus Q is equal to H2 plus W is 0. So here Q is equal to, because H2 is 0, so Q is equal to, that value is equal to H2 minus. So for the case of boiler, that is equal to H2 minus H1. In the case of work done by the turbine, that is H1 minus H2. For the case of boiler, the net heat, that is equal to the H2 minus H1. So these are the applications of the turbine as well as boiler. The next application is nozzle. Third one is the nozzle. Nozzle is a device which are used to increase or decrease the pressure energy of the fluid. So, according to the requirement, there are different type of nozzle. One is the convergent nozzle, another one is the divergent nozzle, and third one is the convergent divergent nozzle. This figure is convergent nozzle, convergent nozzle. This one is divergent nozzle. This one is convergent divergent nozzle. The main function of the nozzle is to increase the velocity of the fluid. So in the convergent nozzle, it is the entrance, this is the exit. converजेंट आगे से दोनों जो एंड है वो आपस में मिलता हुआ दिखे, दैट इज नोन एज द कन्वर्जन नोजल। डाइवर्जन, जैसे हम लोग रोड पे ही जाते हैं जब भी, तो देखते हैं अगर दो रोड दो साइड से जा रही है तो उसको वहाँ पे लिखा रहता है रोड पे डाइवर्जन ऑफ द रोड। डाइवर्जन मीन्स ये एक साइड इधर और दूसरी साइड इधर, दिस वन इज द डाइवर्जेंट नोजल। एंड थर्ड वन इज द कन्वर्जेंट डाइवर्जेंट। एक कन्वर्जेंट भी हो रहा है और एक डाइवर्जेंट भी हो रहा है। तो बेसिकली देयर आर द थ्री टाइप्स ऑफ द नोजल एंड द डिवाइस ऑफ द नोजल इज यूज्ड फॉर टू enhance, increase as well as decrease the pressure energy of the fluid. So we apply the steady flow energy equation in the case of nozzle. So similarly, according to the steady flow energy equation, we write again and again, and then for each and every device the same formula will be applicable. So for nozzle, according to steady flow energy equation, what is the steady flow energy equation? In the case of turbine, H1 plus V1 square by 2 plus GZ1 plus Q is equal to H2 plus V2 square by 2 plus GZ2 plus W. This is the steady flow energy equation. Here for nozzle, datum head, for entrance datum head is equal, so that Z1 is equal to Z2. No heat transfer, no heat transfer Q is equal to 0, no work done. So W is equal to 0. So from this equation we put H1 plus V1 square by 2 is equal to H2 plus V2 square by 2, because all the terms will be 0 except H1 and V1. H1 and H2 is the enthalpy at entrance and exit, and V1 and V2 is the velocity of the fluid at entrance and exit. So from this equation, if V2 is the exit velocity, V2 square minus V1 square by 2, that value is equal to H2 minus H1. In the comparison of the exit velocity, the inlet velocity of the fluid will be very less, so that it can be negligible if V2 is the exit velocity. V2 is the exit velocity, so that V1 negligible, or it may be assumed as 0. So V2 square by 2, that value is equal to H2 minus H1, or we can write here V2 is equal to under root 2 H2 minus H1. So the exit velocity for the enthalpy case, that is equal to 2H2 minus H1, and this HD इसको हम बोलते हैं enthalpy drop. That value is equal to HT is equal to H2 minus H1, the difference of enthalpy at exit and entrance section, H2 minus H1. अब V2 is equal to, अगर हम इसको जूल किलो जूल पर किलोग्राम enthalpy की यूनिट होती है. So for causing the change of unit, we multiply 2 into 1000. So this value is under root 2000 H2 minus H1, and the value of H2 minus H1 2000, that value is equal to 44.72 under root H2 minus H1. ये 44.72 कहाँ से आ गया? 2000 की वैल्यू. So this value is V2 is equal to 44.72 under H. So in the case of nozzle, the exit velocity, that is equal to 44.72 under H. So today in this video we discuss about the microscopic approach, macroscopic approach, concept of continuum, first law of thermodynamics, and the application of steady flow energy equation. So these are the three applications such as turbine, boiler, nozzle. The rest applications as such, centrifugal pump, condenser, and reciprocating pump, these applications will be discussed in the next video. So here only we use how to apply the steady flow energy equation. Regarding this, we also will solve the numerical regarding steady flow energy equation. So today video I discuss